Hey everyone, and welcome back to our fifth, I believe, installment of the Summer Words of Wisdom series. In this series, we've been going through different proverbs and looking at what they mean, what they're telling us, and how we can apply them to our lives so that we can be better Christians and better people and do things more in accordance to God's will. So, for a quick recap, in the first video, we talked about just sort of a general overview of Proverbs and the idea of wisdom and why it's so important. In the second video, we talked about laziness and why God detests laziness but really promotes a good work ethic while also finding time to rest. In the third video, we talked about equality and why equality is so important and why God hates any sort of inequality or injustice, but rather promotes us, truly striving for equality. And then in the fourth video, we talked about patience and why patience really is an important virtue and why we should be patient in our lives and why we should just take time to breathe and trust God's will and God's plan, even though we want everything as soon as humanly possible. So if you haven't seen any of those videos, I highly encourage you to go check them out. They're pretty important, so be sure to do that. But yeah, so today we are going to be diving into our next proverb, and today we're going to be talking about an interesting but really important topic, and that's gossiping. And gossiping is something that all of us fall into, no matter, whether we're guys or girls or, seniors or freshmen or, wherever we fall in life, we all fall into gossiping. And I think it's also, before we dive into this, really important to talk about, what is gossiping? Like, what defines gossiping? And that's a hard one to answer. That's a hard question to really unpack. But basically, gossiping is any sort of talking about other people's business unnecessarily. So, it's one thing if you are wanting to say someone tells you something or you see someone do something and they tell you that thing in confidence or just you see them do this thing. Gossiping is then any person you tell just for the sake of telling them. Just for the sake of being like, well, hey, I saw this. Even if you're putting it under the guise of I'm concerned for them or something like that. Like any sort of just unnecessarily telling information, that's gossiping. And there's a lot of our conversations, I feel like, with a lot of our friends fall under gossiping. Because we want to talk to them about what we've heard, what we've seen, who we saw doing what, who we heard said this, who's dating who broke up with who said something mean about this person. Like, it's so easy for us to fall into gossiping. And the reality is a lot of that is unnecessary. It doesn't benefit our friends in any way to know what this person said about this other random person, or, if this person is dating this person. All of that is irrelevant, and it doesn't grow us, it doesn't benefit us. And you really should only be sharing information about other people when it's relevant to be sharing. If you need to address something, or if you need to tell someone, hey, just so you know, like, this person is gonna do this thing or said this thing, I feel like you should know because it involves you, or something like that. But for the most part, like, we just want to tell people stuff. Someone tells us something and we immediately want to tell our best friend. That's gossiping. Like, that person told you that thing in confidence. Like, you don't need to tell your best friend, or you don't need to tell all your friends. Like, yeah. So with that, and with looking at what gossip is, we're going to look at a proverb to see what exactly the Bible has to say about gossip, and what God thinks about gossip, and how we should handle it. So, to address this, we're going to be looking at Proverbs chapter 18, verse 8. And so if you'll turn there in your Bibles, you'll see that it says, "The words of a gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to the inmost parts." Okay, so what does this mean? What are we saying when we are saying the words of a gossip are like choice morsels and that they go down to the inmost parts? What this is comparing it to is essentially gluttony. So, gossip, hearing, you and your friends talking about other people, or drama, or like pointless things involving other people, or talking about other people's business. Those are like little bits of food. And so you want to keep eating them. And with choice morsels, what this means is, it tastes really good, but it's tiny. If you ate just a few morsels of food, that's not going to sustain you. That's just, you're going to want more and more and more and more and more. And then saying like they go down to the inmost parts, that's meaning like it goes into like our heart and our soul and our mind, and affects how we think and how we feel and how we speak. And so when you combine all that together, what this is basically saying is gossiping is basically this almost like addicting thing of like, once you start, you just want to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And you want to keep talking about this person, or keep talking about that person, or keep talking about this situation or that situation. And you're just going to keep talking and keep talking and keep talking about it. But it's never going to satisfy you. It's never going to fill you up. It's never going to make you feel like, you're never going to reach a point where you're just like, okay, that was good. Like, I'm full. Like, you're going to keep wanting it and keep wanting it and keep wanting to take it in and keep wanting to take it in. But it's going to seep into your heart and into your mind and into your soul. And it's going to, affect how you are acting. It'll affect how you treat people. It's going to affect how you feel towards people. It's going to affect how you view things. And it's going to affect people's ability to trust you. It's going to affect people's ability to rely on you. It's going to affect your ability to support your fellow brothers and sisters in Christ, because, you're not wanting to hear how they're doing because you genuinely care about them. You're just wanting to hear how they're doing for the gossip and to hear, what's the tea. And that's wrong. And what this proverb is saying is we will never be satisfied with that, but it will affect us deeply and in negative ways. And so it's important for us to recognize that, and the best way to combat that is to stop it before it even starts. So y'all know my girlfriend Karina, and then our best friend Deborah. They were on a video like at the start of quarantine, and they've been out to Sudan a few times. So the three of us used to be the worst about gossiping. Like, we would just talk about everything, and we would talk to each other about like different people or different situations or different things like that. And we would just want to stir that up in each other, and we would want to keep going and keep going and keep spiraling and just want to gossip more and more and more and more. And that's like what our trio became about. And it was not good. It was not fruitful. It wasn't fulfilling. And so we recognized that, and we started working towards getting better about that. And we try to not do that anymore. We set boundaries of, if one of us is like, oh, well, what happened with this person? We'll sit around and say, like, I'm not going to talk about it because there's no reason to gossip. And it's hard because it's like, we want to know the gossip. This proverb says it's like choice morsels. Like it tastes good. It feels good in the moment, but it never satisfies us. We're never completely satisfied with it. And so that's why you need to stop it before you even start it. You need to just not even open the door to gossiping of, well, I'll tell you this one thing. Or, the most dangerous thing that you can say is like, all right, I'm going to tell you this, but it has to stay between us because this person can't know that I told you. Like, that's a slippery and dangerous slope, because if you do that with that person, and then if that person does that with another person, and then that person does that with another person, like eventually everyone knows. And, that's why there's always all the jokes about how fast information spreads in small towns, is because, when you have everyone doing that, it spreads quickly. And, no one, if you share your business with someone, you're sharing it with just that person. You're not saying, I'm okay with everyone knowing this. You're saying, I'm okay with you knowing this. So you're breaking another person's trust by, sharing their information with someone else. So as fun as gossiping is, it's so toxic and it's so bad. And it affects us on a deep level. And that's why we need to not gossip. And that's why gossiping is bad. Again, this proverb says that the words of a gossip are like choice morsels. Like in the moment, they taste good, they feel good, but they're never going to satisfy us. And instead, they go down to the inmost parts. They affect us on a deep level and in a negative way. So, the moral of the story today, today's words of wisdom about gossip, is to not do it. As fun as it is, and as much as you want to, just don't do it. Just respect people's privacy, respect people's lives, and combat gossiping so, you don't bring them down and you don't bring yourself down. Instead, talk about God-honoring things, talk about scriptural things, talk about good things, because that's what'll build us up. That's what's going to, instead of being like choice morsels, that talking about godly things is what will sustain us and what will fill us up. So I encourage you to do that. So with that being said, I'm going to have discussion questions again at the end of this video. I really encourage you to sit down and answer them really honestly, and then talk about them with someone and get that accountability, get that community, and be able to help each other out and build each other up in this area. And don't just, blow over them or not do them, but really take time to answer them and think about them and talk about them with someone. Also, I'm going to have an announcement video coming later this week and an announcement text coming out soon with some exciting news. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, so with that being said, those were our summer words of wisdom for the day. I hope you enjoy this video. I hope to see you soon. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.